How's it going, everybody? Just waiting for there we go, for the Instagrams to go in live. This is myself, Sherrod Seward, sports immigration lawyer. Have a huge history in doing a lot of the visas for combat sports. Some previous clients include Canelo Alvarez, Tyson Fury, a lot of UFC champions. Speaking of that, shout out to Ilia Topuria. He is fighting for the UFC featherweight championship this Saturday, and we were able to get him going. Hey, Harry, how's it going? We were able to get Ilia's corner. Well, not his corner, but all his family members. So he had about 9 family members that he wanted to get here in time for the United States to do the, to be here for his fight on Saturday. And we were able to get that done all on visitor visas, emergency appointments. Thank you, First Round Management, for the faith in me. I appreciate it very much. But right now, before I get into this, let me disclose that our firm did do the visa work for One Fighting Championship's first event in the United States. It's something they planned for a long time, and they took a lot of careful measures, and they took their time with it. It was about a 1.5-year long project where they were gathering approvals and doing their planning for where they're going to do the events, and they faced significant challenges, which I don't think people have a big enough appreciation for how big of a deal and how hard it is to do employment-based immigration in the United States, but also all over the world, especially in places where they might be more adverse to immigration, such as Japan, which is notoriously pretty tough to get work visas and especially immigrate to. So that's not a new concept. So yes, I did do work with One Fighting Championships for the first event, but I'm not currently involved in what's going on right now. So I don't have information directly with what's going on with Sage Northcutt and the organization. What I will say is working with them, I find them to be very professional and very conservative to their approach, not in a bad way, but in a good way. And there's just a lot that can go wrong when you're dealing with visas all over the world and corners and stuff like that. It just gets very complicated. And one thing that's different between the UFC, well, actually, it's not all that different. The UFC does have an in-house team that does immigration and gets heavily involved in immigration outside of the United States, but it's not like they don't also contract with private attorney firms to help them get people in different countries. Like I've worked with a firm that does their visa work to Australia. But for anybody, 48 days can seem like a long time to get something done, and historically it is. And that's what Sage Northcutt said. He said, I turn all my paperwork in 48 days before the event. And I think he's talking about himself, his corners, and his coaches. But one thing I will say is it can be a different matter of saying I'm traveling with my coaches as opposed to I'm traveling with my corners, which means 2 different things. On one level, if somebody's traveling with you as your corner, right, here in the United States, it's perfectly fine whether they're traveling on a visitor visa or if they're traveling on a work visa, because the UFC is not going to be paying them either way as corner people. Usually it's going to be the athlete that's paying them. But in different countries, that can be different, which means if you say that you're coming to be a corner on the live broadcast screen, say like, oh, you're actually working for the organization. You're not just coming as a visitor to just help your guy out, and that's it. And to which that would require a work visa to do, as opposed to if somebody was just coming like, hey, I'm his coach. I'm not actually going to be on anything working. I'm coming here just to support him, help him do his weight cut. I'm gonna get some tickets and then go into the stands. And that is an easy miscommunication that could happen, especially when you're dealing with different countries, 48 days and stuff like that. You know, the third party that they've gotten the information might have said, oh, That's just a coach. That's not a person that's directly getting paid from the organization. No problem. Let them come in and without a visa, they don't need to work and they can get there. Now, one of the things is to say is the corners, the coaches that Sage Northcutt wanted to come actually did get into the country and were able to help with his preparations. What they weren't able to do was actually corner him in his fight. And when I'm thinking about this on the back end of how things like work out, it's easy to see how that slight miscommunication can happen to think that he doesn't need a work visa. And one thing people need to know that it's never been harder, whether you're talking about the United States, or you're talking about Japan or the European Union, to get these work visas on especially on short notice basis. We've had plenty of cases that were straight up good cases that are hard to get nowadays, just because of how aggressive everybody's being about employment-based immigration. Here in the United States, it seems like the asylum humanitarian part of the business is going pretty well. But I can tell you from being in this business at the highest levels and at the lowest levels that it's never been harder to get these work visas for the fighters. And when you're dealing with different countries and time sets, 48 days is not necessarily a long time. And it only takes one small communication issue for a third-party attorney to not know the difference if somebody's coming to be a coach of a person or somebody's going to be a corner of a person. That's why it pays to really work with attorneys that deal specifically in sports and in immigration, so they know the nuance, because that one cost them. I don't know if it's the main event or not, but Sage Northcutt was pretty upset. And it probably was something that's not that big of a problem to throw everybody on the bus. It's just probably that it wasn't communicated that the coaches are also corners. And in Japan, corners are considered people that need work visas, as opposed to coaches that just travel with the fighter to make sure that they're fine, but will not be seen anywhere near the broadcast. But that's my take on this unfortunate situation. Would like to know what you guys think. Would like to know, what do you think that it could have been done to make the communication better? And just your theory on kind of how this whole migration thing is going in general. But yes, again, I'm Sherrod Seward, sports immigration attorney to the United States. Previous work with Top Rank, Tyson Fury, Canelo Alvarez, a lot of UFC championships. Shout out First Round Management, Team Ilia Tapuria. Do your thing, boy. You're going to become a world champion on Saturday. I can feel it. I might be there. Let me go check the tickets. I might be at the fight. But anyway, hope you guys learned something from this. Communication goes a long way in dealing with somebody that knows not only the law, but the industry. That's important. That's big important. All right. So hope you got some value. I will see you guys later. Peace out.